Animations are like visual cues which tells that what's going on in your UI. If UI changes the state, if you are loading a new content and new actions is becoming available, and animation just your app more beautiful, which gives a good look and feel for your Android app. So there are different types of different animations API depending on the animations you want. I will provide you an overview of what we can do and how to add motion in your UI, which makes your UI more polished and gives a good look and feel like an app with a quality. So that's very important for if you want to become an Android developer, you have to learn these animations. So let's learn that. Launch the Android Studio. Select the new project, and there'll be different options. You'll select the empty activity and we'll click next. Then we have to give name to our project. I'm giving here animation activity. You can give your own name. The package name will automatically come. Leave the other things as it is and then click finish. And then after some time you will see that the Android Studio is fully loaded on the screen. And you can see the main activity.java and activity underscore main.xml both has opened. So now once it is opened, what we'll do, we'll go to activity underscore main.xml and we'll design our UI first and then we'll do the rest. We can see this hello world. So we will go to the code. First thing we will do is to change the constraint layout to relative layout. And because it's not a constraint layout, so we have to delete this constraint from the text view. We will maintain this hello world because what we'll do, we'll try to animate the text itself. Let us centralize this text view. So center and parent true. Then let us make it a bigger size. So text size will be 24 dp. And then color, because normally it is gray by default, so just to be more visible, I'm making it a black, the red color / black. Also we have to give some ID to the text view, so ID / text. And then the text style also, let us do bold. You can do anything, just it's for the example I'm giving you. So now you can see this hello world, a bold, a bigger hello world is coming in the center of the screen. Now we'll go back to the code and let's give some margin for our layout. I'm writing margin, layout margin is equal to 10 dp, so that we have some margin. Now what we are going to do, we are going to create buttons. So each button will start one kind of animation. So let's start writing buttons. The Android layout width will be wrap content and height will be wrap content. We'll give an ID to the button. So our first button ID is button 1. Then text on the button will be our first animation, whatever we want. The first animation which we will do is blink. When we press on the button, the text will blink. That's our objective. Now let's create some margin on the right side of the button. So I'm giving layout margin right equal to 10 dp. So you can see the first button has come on the top left corner of the of my UI. You can see this blink button, blue button has come. Now we'll copy this code and paste it below the button 1. We'll change the ID of the button, second button to button 2, and the text of the button we will write instead of blink. To see the next animation, translate. So let's write trans dot for the translate, and it should be placed below the button 1. So that's our second button. Go to the design and see that the second button has appeared. Now let us create 2 more buttons. So copy these both buttons and paste it. There will be button 3 and then there will be button 4. These are the IDs which we'll choose for our new 2 buttons. The text on that blink, because now we want another animation, that's zoom animation also we want to learn. So we will write zoom, and instead of trans dot we will write fade. This button will make the text fade and the zoom button will make the text enlarge. Zoom button is basically scaling of the object. Now to place it the button properly also, so we will write layout to the right of button 1, so that it is on the right side of the button 1, and then this will be to the right of button 2. So you can see the zoom button has come, and also if we write right of the button 2, and then also the layout below we have to correct it to button 3 because it should be placed below the button 3. So our 4 buttons have come beautifully. Now our 5th button will be ID button 5. The animation this button will perform will be rotation animation. So we'll write the text rotate. It will not be below, it will be further on the right side. It will be on the right of button 3. So the button has come. We go to the code back. These are the animation which we are going to try today. So the last button which we'll do, which will stop all kinds of animation. So that's the button number 6, ID button 6, and text will be stop, and it will be on the right of button 4, and it will be below the button 5. It will stop all the animation if there is anything. So you can see all 6 buttons have come. Now this top button looks same, so let's just differentiate. What we'll do, we'll change the color of the button. So background tint equal to color black. So you can see this 6th button has come, which is looking different. So because it is doing a different function, it is stopping all kinds of animation. So this way you can see all the buttons are created. So our main XML is pretty much ready. Now come back to main activity.java, and what we'll do now, we have to declare these variables of the button class. So we'll write button 1, button 2, button 3, button 4. You can choose any name you want. Button 5, button 6. This button class is red, so we have to import the class. So you can see the top import widget button has come. Also declare our text view text. So the variable name I'm giving here is text. Now let us initialize all of these button, connect to our XML. So button 1 is equal to find view by ID, r.id. button 1. The kind of list is coming from there also. You can select, copy it 6 times because we have 6 buttons. Then change all the IDs and the variable names. So button 2 on the left side, button 3, button 4, button 5. As you're writing, you can see the color is changing. On ID also we have to change button 1, button 2, button 3, button 4, button 5, button 6. So we have initialized all the buttons. Also we will have to initialize the text. So let's write text equal to find view by ID, r.id. The ID we have provided is text. So we have initialized all our UI elements. Now what we will do, we will go to our res directory, that is resource directory, and we have to create for the animations. What we're going to do is we are going to build different XML files as an animation style, which we will call in our program. What we'll do, we'll create animation XMLs for each kind of animation. One file will be created and will be stored in the resource file under the directory of animation. For that purpose, go to the left pane on the resource folder. Right click on resource, go to new, select the Android resource directory. Name of the directory, you can choose anything. I'm writing here animations. Resource type, choose the anim first one. That's it, and just click OK. And there you can see that there is another folder has come, anim, where all our animation styles we are going to store. Now inside the animation, we will create new animation resource file. And the file name, this file name will be name of the animation, so that we can remember. The file name for this, I will give a blink. Just write blink, nothing else. The root element also will be set, that's okay. A directory is anim, that's okay. We don't have to change anything else. We have to just write the file name, whatever you want, so that you can remember, and then press OK. Now you can see inside this set, we will write our XML code. So because we are doing blinking animations, it's called basically alpha. So write alpha and also close it. Inside the alpha, we will write Android from alpha 0.0. It is deciding the intensity of the text basically from alpha to alpha. So from 0 to 1, it is going to change. It's like opacity of the text. So 2 alpha will be 1.0. Then we'll write Android duration equal to, under the quotes, 500. So this 500 is basically milliseconds. Then we will write Android alone repeat mode, because we want this blinking to be repeated. So the repeat mode I am giving here reverse, and then Android repeat count will be infinite. So that what is the meaning of this is it will be infinitely blinking. It will blink continuously. That's all. And then we will write Android interpolator equal to, we may define some interpolation for the transition at Android colon anim / accelerate interpolate. That's it. For alpha we are done. Now what we'll do, we'll first test our first animation, whether the first animation is working, and then we'll keep on building on that. Let's go to mainActivity.java. So we'll create a listener for our button 1 so that our animation can start. Before the button, we have to declare animation variable. So we'll write animation blink animation. That's my new variable under the class animation equal to animation utils dot load animation. The context will be this, inside the bracket this comma r dot anim dot our XML file, that's blink. So in this context, this our blink will be called. So what it will do, the blink animation is the variable which when it is called, it's going to have the animation of the blink. Once we have defined the animation, we'll create the listener for the button. So let us write button 1 dot set on click listener, new view dot on click listener. Inside the onClick method, we will write our text dot start animation. So this function is gonna start animation, and we will call our variable blink animation. So our listener for the button 1 has been created. What we'll do, we will just run this project and we will see. I have connected my Samsung phone. You can see, so you can see the run. There is no error. Run is, and now you can see so now once the program is launched, you can see there are 6 buttons, and when we are pressing on the blink button, hello world is continuously blinking. That's beautiful. Other buttons are not will not work because we have nothing defined any listener for that. We'll close it and we'll come back to our main program, and we'll complete our project fully. And now again create a new resource file, and let's go under the folder anim and right click on the create new resource file, and so our next animation is going to be translate animation. So let the remaining thing as it is. The directory is anim, and press OK, and this is what in the translate.xml looks like, something like this. Inside that we will write translate like this. It's gonna move the object from one place to the another place. So this calls for from x delta, that's 0%. It will measure from the screen's x-axis, and Android 2x delta will be 100%. So from one place to the another place, it will fully occupy the screen, and will move from leftmost to the right, and from y delta 0% to y delta 300%. So what I'm doing is I'm forcing my object to move in the x direction as well as in the y direction, that is vertical direction also. So it will go kind of a diagonal. The duration will be 1000 millisecond. Here additionally what we will do, interpolator we will define on top of the translate before the bracket. Press enter and write Android interpolator equal to. So what we are going to do, define an interpolator, a bounce interpolator. Android interpolator at Android and bounce interpolator. So it will give a bounce effect. It's the extreme right position, it will have a bounce effect. So then there is a fill after. That fill after, what it does is once we write fill after true, it means the animation will grow and will remain like. So it doesn't come back. So if you don't write fill after true, what will happen after the animation is done, it will go to it will reset to the original shape. But if you write it true, it will change its animation as per the code, and it will remain like that. So this is a bounce effect. If you don't give bounce effect, it will just simply move. But if you give bounce effect, it will look beautiful. It will look a different kind of animation which you may use. So that's why I thought I'll bring this interpolator. So our translate animation is also done. Now we can create our another animation variable, translate animation. We'll copy this entire thing and paste below. And we'll just change the XML in this trans animation is as r.anim.translate. So that's how our new animation, translate animation, is now ready. So we can create another listener for our button 2, which is for the purpose of translation. And instead of text.start animation, inside that we will replace the blink animation to the translate animation. So we'll write trans animation. So our button 2 is also ready for working. So we'll run the program once again and we'll see how it works. So you can see our screen is there. So we'll click on the translate button. Yes, you can see it's going on X and Y, both the axes, and it's just giving a bounce effect. Then I press the blink and it's blinking there. You can see because of the fill after, it's remaining there. Now we will create our another XML in the anim directory, and we'll name it fade. Inside the fade, it's nothing but alpha without the repeat. So what we'll do, we'll just try to show how to build a fade which will fade the text. So we'll write alpha again. So in a way it is basically same as the blink. Just write alpha. Inside the alpha we will write from alpha 1.0. So from the full opacity to the 2 alpha will be 0.1. So we don't want it to be totally 0. In the duration, Android duration equal to, let's write 1000. That's over 1 second. Now again, after this set, we will write Android interpolator. So we'll again define interpolator. We can define inside the alpha also. We can define in the above also. Interpolator equal to @Android anim / linear interpolator. Now our fade animation is also ready. Let's create some more animation resource file, and then we can see everything in total. Now create a zoom XML. In the same way we created all other XML, let's create a zoom XML. It's basically a scale. Zooming is nothing but scales. You can zoom out, zoom in, create the new XML file named zoom. So X scale. Just define from X scale equal to 1 to Android 2 X scale equal to 3, and from Y scale equal to 1 and to Y scale equal to 3. So the text, the object will zoom 3 times from its original size once the animation starts. So pivot X. Now this pivot we have to define, because otherwise it will start from the left side and the zooming will not be proper. We want zooming to be centralized. So that's why the pivot X and pivot Y will define its position from where the zooming, the scaling will start. So we are shifting the pivot. Instead of 0, we are writing 50%. So the pivot point is shifted on the center of the our object, so that the zoom in takes place from the center. So that's why we have to define the pivot. You can define whatever way you want. Now we have to define Android duration. Let's write 1000. Now again what we are doing is, here we are making Android fill after equal to true, just to see the effect that once it is scaled, it will remain like that. Now create another animation resource file. Right click on the anim directory, go to new, and again create animation resource file, and we'll name it rotate. It's another animation possible on the object. So we'll write rotate, close it here. So from degrees, because it is in the rotations, we have to write degrees. From degrees equal to 0, 2 degrees equal to 720. 720 I am giving so that it can rotate for at least 2 times. Once if you give 360 degree, it will rotate one full circle. So I am writing 720, which is just double of 360. So it will rotate for 2. Then Android duration for the rotation will be 1000 milliseconds. So in 1 second, so the object will rotate 2 times in 1 second. Then Android start offset. So this rotation offset also we have to define. So there is no offset. We will set it 0. Now just like the zoom, we will again define here pivot X. So across at which point it's going to be rotating. So the pivot will define the center. So pivot X we are shifting on 50% side, so that the pivot comes exactly at the center of the object, so that the object rotate on its own center. If we define pivot X something else, it will rotate from that point. So pivot X equal to 50% and pivot Y equal to 50%. And here we are writing Android interpolator equal to under the quotes at Android anim / linear interpolator. So that's our rotate animation is also complete. So now we can see we have created 5 different kind of animations which we can use in our program. We have seen 2. We are going to see other rest of the 3. We close all these XMLs and we'll start making listeners for our button and calling them each one. So now our animation variable, we'll copy this and we'll paste it 3 times. So we have 5 animation variable for our 5 different type of animation. So just to rename it, the third animation variable will be zoom animation. The XML file will be for that will be zoom. And then we have fade animation. We'll write fade animation, and also the XML file will define fade. And then the last animation which we have defined is rotate. So we'll rename it rotate animation. Accordingly, we will define our XML file inside the context. Now what we'll do, we'll copy this listeners for button, all the other buttons. So we'll create listeners for all the 5 buttons which are basically for the purpose of animation. So we'll just call each one animation one by one. So inside the button 3 we will call zoom animation, button 4 is for fade animation, and button 5 is for rotate animation. So all these variables which were declared, we will write inside these brackets. Also we will change our button to button 3, 4 and 5. So you can see all the listeners we have created. It's very simple. Then button 6 we decided to make a button so to stop all the animation. So let's create listener for button 6. So button 6 dot set on click listener. So now the text of our object dot write clear animation. It's gonna clear all the animations if there is anything going on it. So that's it. We have created our button 6 also. Our code is pretty much complete and all our buttons are created. And now it's time to run the project and see our animation effects. You can see in our emulator now, we'll operate all the buttons. So blink animation is working. Then translate animation is working. When you press the stop, it goes back to the original position. Then zoom, you can see beautifully it is zooming and it's remaining there. That basically fill after is making it remain there. If you don't use fill after, it goes back to the same position. Then fade animation, you can see once you press the fade button, it is fading from 1 to 0.1 opacity. You can see the exact duration is 1 second. So fade animation also is working. Now this rotate animation, once you press, is rotating 2 times. You can see the center of the axis is basically center of the object. So we have built all 5 animations, and I have shown you in this project how we have built the animations which you can use in your app. Your app look more appealing, more quality. So that's all the project, and I think you must have learned about the animation. You must have got pretty much a good idea about how animation work. If you have any comments, please comment me and give me feedback. If you're not subscribed, I will once again request all of you to please subscribe my channel. Thank you for watching, friends.